Hey family, this is your host Stan of the podcast, Talking with Friends, and in this episode I want to talk to you about faith in adversity, basically overcoming life's obstacles. Personal testimony, personal story. I encountered an unexpected adversity, unexpected trial, unexpected season in my life. A couple of years ago, probably about 2, 3, 4 years ago, something like that. And it was a very trying time for me. It's funny how things that arise that are small, that arise on one front, can ultimately have the effect on other fronts as well. This one particular storm situation season that arose in my life affected my walk with Christ. It affected my duties that I'm attached to as far as it goes in the house of the Lord, in church. There's certain things that I do. I'm a teacher in church. I'm also I'm a pastor. I assist with the youth. I assist with other things, social content being posted on the church Facebook page and church TikTok, and all of this stuff. All of these things were affected by the storm that arose in my life. It was unexpected, came out of nowhere. Really didn't know that was coming, and that it would be such a big thing, and that it would affect so many different areas of my life. Mental health, all of that was shaken. And it really had me in a space where, it was testing everything in my faith. I won't say that I let go of my faith. If anything, during those times, it really, really tested my faith. You hear people say all the time they claim God as their own. Is that my God will do this, my God will do that. Well, when you walk through a season like that, or you walk through a trial that's like that, it's understandable why people can claim God as their own like that. My God will supply all my needs. My God will do this. My God will do that. And he remind you of he's a mind regulator. He'll keep you. You know what I'm saying? He provides your needs. When you go through a season like that, that was a personal season that I went through. All of those things. It checked all of those boxes. Was it comfortable? Did it feel good? Did I even think that it was God at the time allowing this to happen or causing this to happen? On one side of the shore, I could say no. In the very beginning, I could say no. On the other side of the shore, where I made it to, yeah, I could definitely say that was God. God was all in it. He was causing it because there's a lot of things that I had put my faith in, that I had put my trust in, but I didn't put him. He wasn't the main centerpiece. So there's a passage in the Bible. You guys know that I am a ordained elder, pastor, minister. So you will get a dose of the scripture and faith whenever there comes an episode that whether it's new or it's old, there's a passage in the scripture that says it was good for me that I was afflicted. And on the other side of this thing, on the other side of this storm, this shakeup that happened in my life, I can stand on the other side of this thing and say, yes, it was absolutely good for me to be afflicted. I think Paul was the one who said this in the scriptures. It showed me who he was. You hear people say he's a keeper. You hear people say he's a provider. You hear people say he'll keep you in the palm of his hand. All of those boxes were checked, man. And coming out, going through that, you really don't you don't have that personal testimony of that. But when you come through on the other side of a situation, a storm, or a season that is designed to shake you up, you come out on the other side of that thing, man, and you recognize exactly who he is, exactly what he can do. If you are not being in a situation alone or a home alone, you come out on the other end of that thing, and you're just like, I know God will protect me. I know God will keep me. I know he will provide for me. I mean, there was a lot of things that I learned during those seasons. During that season, there was a lot of crying. There was a whole lot of breaking. I'm not the same man that I was when I went into that, and that's cool. That's 100% fine, because there was some things that had to come off me. There was some things that I had to break free from, and some nights were full of tears. Some nights were full of questions in my prayers, wondering, if he heard me, if he cared, you know what I'm saying? Because it didn't feel well. But at the same time, there was something that he was a place where he was trying to get me to. And he knew that ultimately the Stanley that existed at the beginning of the trial, the beginning of the season that was not good, was not the Stan that needed to exist once everything was over with, once everything was said and done. Nobody could stop that season from happening. Nobody could protect me from that season from happening. I had to literally go through that season alone, not without him, He showed me, though, that he was there. My thought goes back to my mom had, my mother had breast cancer. We found out she had breast cancer the first time. And when we found out when she came home from an appointment, and she didn't come straight home, and we didn't know where she was. And long story short, probably get into that another episode. But she let us know that, she had to go and just be away from us and the house, just to wrap her mind around the process that needed to happen next. And the process would consist of chemotherapy and, whatever, radiation. And she needed to wrap her mind around that. But at the same time, my point is that she knew that she had to basically go through this season alone. But it caused her to grow even closer to God. Nobody in the immediate family could say, hey, I know exactly what you're going through. She basically had to grab his hand and walk that season out. And we saw that. We saw that first time that she was diagnosed with it. And we saw her walk through it. We saw her go in with a head full of hair. But I think probably after the second or third bout of chemo, it started to come out. And, we saw that. And it was, I'm pretty sure she probably had her moments where she broke down. But in genuine mom form, she never let us see it. You know what I'm saying? But we saw it. We saw her go through that. We saw her lose a head full of hair. But on the other side of that thing, on the final bout that she did with the chemo, we saw her, we knew that she rung that bell, and eventually we saw all of that hair that she lost during the fight come back. But my point is that she had to walk that through. She had to walk that out by herself. There was no human that could say, I'm going to walk this out with you, or I've been through this thing with, that you're going through. No, she had to walk it out by herself. And I know for a fact, by her walking that out, she found out who he was even more in depth than what she already knew. There's just some things, some seasons that he'll walk you through to show you that A, he's with you, but also to show you that he's going to keep you, he's going to cover you, he's going to protect you. He's going to be your strength, most importantly, both mentally and physically. So I know that when she walked through that season, all of those things were shown to her, were made clear to her. And when I went through that season that I went through, it was, nobody could walk that out with me. Nobody could be here in my home at night when I'm, praying and not understanding what this was as far as that season went, or not understanding, asking God, like, what is this? Do you hear me? You know what I'm saying? I'm praying and all this. And nobody could walk that out with me. It was just something that I had to walk out by myself. I am the youngest of my mother's children. I have 2 older sisters. So with that being said, there is a journey that the youngest child walks, and most of the time it's a paved, easy journey. Like I tell anybody, there was never, probably as I got older, but being younger, if you wanted something, you probably asked one of your sisters and they'd get it. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like being a hard, struggling, tough, hurting, painful, probably first 10 or 12 years of my life, it really was bearable. There's something that I probably discussed in that I will discuss in another episode that played a part in that childhood that wasn't so pleasant. But as far as something being super duper hard, no, it's all I make my request to my sisters, and they will make it happen, or mom will make it happen. But so with that being said, there's a ease that kind of comes with your life being that. But God also knows what is on the inside of you and how strong you are, even when you don't know that you are that strong. So He's got to walk you through some things, and have some things come off you, like a caterpillar. It's you go in one way and you come out another, and only He knows what you can be and what you are designed to be. And I could stand here now in 2024 and say, I am not the same person that I was when everything started. I'm stronger now. My faith is stronger now. My understanding of who He is and what I can do. Me personally, what I can do. I'm not easily broken like I once was. You know what I'm saying? Like I could take some things, and I didn't know that before until I walked through that season. So there's a lot of lessons that was taught in that journey, in that season. But as tough as that season was, it was kind of like he had to allow it to be that tough to, so I could really feel it, so I could really know, so that I can know that I know that I know, who he is, and understand what He can do through me, how He can cover me, how he can take care of me. Even now, certain times, and I know probably some of my listeners probably have had these times where you're working, you're looking at your budget, and you're like, it's kind of tight, God. If something doesn't work the way I need it to work, I don't know what's going to happen bill-wise or mortgage-wise or rent-wise. And, you get to your payday and you get your money, your check, and, it's more than enough. And you'll hear Him whisper. I know with me, I heard Him whisper, not a loud whisper, like right down in my stomach, right down in my spirit. I got you. I told you I got you. I told you that everything will be okay. And He's had to walk that out with me, you know what I'm saying, to reassure me time and time again. It just happened probably a couple of weeks ago as we came into September. I told you I got you. I would hear that in my spirit. And it's a reassurance. It causes the anxiety to really lighten, because what He said He'll do is what ultimately happens, And it really taught me a lot. It really taught me a lot. And it showed me exactly who he is. And, if all else fails, if everything that I'm relying on comes apart or is destroyed, ultimately, as long as I got him, like, he'll make a way. There's been many times in that journey, during that season, in that situation where, I'm thinking that the blessing needed to come from right in front of me, and it'll come from behind me, and it'll be more than enough, or it'll be something that I really, really needed, or something that I wanted, and it'll just come from another angle. And that just shows me, never to limit him. You know what I'm saying? If you need it, you're his child. He's gonna make it so that you get it, especially if it's something that pertains to your health, your wealth, or your finances. But it showed me just to be open, never try to box him in to say, it's not coming from in front of me, Lord. I'm not making this. It's not going to be enough money, and he'll come right up behind you and bring it another way. Or it's not, there's nothing in the cabinet, and then something will just come. It's been many times where I've seen that, and it was kind of like that journey, that time was kind of like just being. It was kind of like just training. That's what it was. It was training to prepare me for the next season. That really, it wasn't that's the following season wasn't that hard, but I was equipped with what I learned from the prior season, the tough season, to go into the new season. And it showed me, okay, you can do A, B, and C. You know what I'm saying? Trust yourself. It taught me to trust myself. It taught me to trust him. So if I could encourage anybody, I would encourage you to say, if there is a season that you find yourself in right now that is not so pleasant, doesn't feel good, things are being shaken, relationships are being shaken, people are distancing themselves from you, you can't seem to see clear because of the magnitude of the storm that is broken out in your life, just know that even in that, God is with you. And as crazy as it gets, always be reminded that he's always there. He is always there. Like, I had a conversation with one of my elders some months ago, and we were talking about his grace, his mercy, and his provision, even in the storm, and I went right back to that season, like, even when that season was going on, that tough season that I went through, I didn't miss a meal. I wasn't, my lights weren't out. Nothing was turned off. My life wasn't in danger or anything like that. So as reflecting on that and looking back, that's the thing where, when it comes to us sometimes, even especially as God's children, Christians, we ultimately sometimes don't tend to look around at his grace, his mercy, and his provision that's in the midst of the storm. When you're going through the toughest of times, sometimes it's hard for you to see that he's providing food, he's providing income, he's providing protection, he's keeping your mind, especially if that situation, that season gets to a level where you could possibly lose your mind in responding to something a certain way or responding to a person a certain way, and there was pressure that's put on you. I know there was pressure put on me like crazy, man, where I could either respond and have an outcome be an outcome, and then I basically had all the ammunition that I needed to respond that way, or let him handle it. Let him take care of it. Because he said he would. And it's just, all right, Lord, all right, God, I'm patient. I'm being patient. Like, when are you going to make your move? But, ultimately, he's a keeper. Ultimately, he's a provider. Ultimately, he is a mind regulator. Ultimately, he can take the littlest amount of things and stretch it, as he did in the Bible, where he fed 5,000 with just the fish and the loaves of bread. And ultimately, what I could say is, from the storm that I went through, it was all to direct my attention back to him, to put my eyes back on him, to put my focus and my concerns and my cares and my worries and my anxieties back on him. That's ultimately what it is, because sometimes we have all of that and we have it on ourselves, and it becomes stress and it bogs us down and it turns into depression, or it turns into something else, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately, he's applying this pressure to say, you're not designed to carry this, but I am. So take these things and bring them to me. There's the scripture in the Bible says, take your cares and cast them on the Lord, because they are way too much for us to handle. I've never seen nobody handle every single concern and care that they have, because things are always changing. Situations are always changing. So you can't always say that something is going to be in a straight line, perfect every day. It's not. Things change. So if I could give you any type of hope in this episode, I don't know, I felt like this episode, this is something that is near and dear to me, because I've been through this personally, and I'm hoping that this can inspire anybody who listens to it, or it can encourage anybody who listens to it. I just want to be an encourager to let you know that even in your tough season, even in the season that you're going through right now, or there could be a season that's coming up that you know about, that's getting ready to start in your life, whatever it may be, always remember and always know, even if you can't trace him, even if you don't see him, even if you can't even hear him, always be reminded that he's right there with you. He's not going to let anything happen to you. You will not go without. He's going to be your provider. He's going to be your keeper. He is going to be whatever you need him to be, whatever you need him to be. And I think that would be interchangeable in everybody's life. Whatever you need him to be: strength, courage, focus, power, income, whatever it is you need him to be, that's what he'll be. When God was having the conversation with Moses, he said, I am who I am that I am, and he left that open. I personally got whatever you need me to be. That's what I'll be. If you need me to be courage, Moses, I'll be courage. If you need me to be strength, I'll be strength. And I take that and I own that for us. I own that for myself. Whatever we need him to be, he'll be just that. And just be reminded that all you got to do is just keep the faith. It's tough. As easy as that sounds to do, it is tough, but cling to him. Cling to him. And if this season, you know that you haven't, your connection with him and yourself has grown wider, allow this season to lead you back to him, to direct you back to him, to guide you back to him. Allow this rough season, this tough season, you don't understand what's going on in this season. Allow this season to do as the wind does to the sails on a ship, on a ship. Allow the push of this rough season, this storm, this tough season, allow that to send you back towards him. Talk to him, pray, read his word, allow it to lead you back to him slowly but surely, so that he can speak to you, so that he can reassure you that he's with you. Once again, this is your host, Stan, of the podcast, Talking with Friends. I consider you guys to be my friend. I consider us to be a community, and I hope you got inspired from this episode. I hope you share this with someone who needs encouragement. I am a natural encourager. I learned that years ago. But I hope that this encourages you to keep the faith. And if you're going through a storm, allow this storm to direct you, guide you back to Him, because that's ultimately what He wants it to do. No matter how tough it gets, He ultimately wants you to be led back to Him so He can speak to you, so that He can encourage you, so that He can minister to you, so that He can reassure you that whatever you need in this rough season, whatever you need in this unrecognizable, changing, ever-changing, tough, pressure-filled, stress-filled season, ultimately, He wants you to come back to Him, to be led back to Him. Once again, this is your host, Stan, of the podcast Talking with Friends. Have a great day.